The boy simply couldn't help himself and played with a toy airplane. His father immediately ran toward the boy. Just then, the father suddenly discovered a dark shadow in the forest rapidly approaching the boy. Despite running desperately, he was powerless to prevent what happened. It turned out that months earlier, a terrifying type of monster had invaded Earth. Although they had no eyes, their hearing and sense of smell were extraordinarily developed. The entire world had become their hunting ground. Human civilization instantly crumbled. The only rule for survival was to maintain absolute silence. Jack's family had survived up to this point by following this rule. Every time they went out to search for supplies, the family would lay sand on the road in advance. To minimize footstep sounds as much as possible, communication between them could only be done through sign language, fearing that even the slightest sound might disturb nearby monsters. But during one outing to search for supplies, an accident occurred. The family was preparing to return home fully loaded. Their youngest son secretly took a toy airplane. On the way home, the scene from the beginning unfolded. The youngest son's death plunged everyone into grief. The father was especially guilt-ridden, believing he had failed to take proper care of him. To prevent similar tragedies from happening again, they became even more cautious than before. They installed cameras around the farm to constantly monitor the monster's movements. Since they couldn't make sounds, neon lights were also set up around the house as warning systems. When red lights came on, it meant monsters were present. The father also sent out distress signals to the outside world every day, hoping to find surviving humans, but never received any response. Time passed, and a year later, this family was about to welcome a new member to prepare for their fourth child. They made thorough preparations. They converted the basement into a soundproof room, covering the walls with thick layers of newspaper for sound insulation. The baby crib was also made into a completely enclosed wooden box with cotton quilts, leaving only an oxygen tube for breathing. After all preparations were complete, the family Saturday together for a meal, praying that the disaster would end soon. However, after dinner, when the two siblings were playing games, they accidentally knocked over a nearby oil lamp. Such commotion was enough to attract monsters. Although the father quickly extinguished the fire with a blanket, unusual sounds still came from outside. Everyone immediately held their breath, not daring to make any sound. Jack carefully approached the window to look outside. Fortunately, it was just the groundhogs. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief. However, they didn't know that monsters had already arrived nearby. The poor groundhogs were crushed into pancakes,